You know, the performance horses for me are my passion.
Just to see them perform in what they do and how they do it is a privilege.
It shows off the horse's athleticism, discipline, and competitiveness. It's the zenith, really.
I'm Clinton Anderson, and I have a method for training horses. Getting horses to behave is simple. It's training people that's the real trick. Join me as I tackle some of the most challenging situations with problem horses and with problem owners.
The performance horses is where I have a lot of passion. It's where my enjoyment is, and moving forward now with Down Under Horsemanship, I can dedicate a lot more time to it. The concept of a performance horse is basically you buy one of my horses that I breed and raise, and it's been through the method. We've done the imprinting, you know, we've done all the groundwork, etc. I've chosen, selected it. I make sure it's sound, I make sure it's vetted correctly, and then you purchase it and I train it for you. It's really the only way now that I will train anybody's horse. And at the very worst, if the horse it doesn't have the ability to be a performance horse, it ends up being a phenomenal signature horse. So no matter what, you end up with a truly talented horse that you can have fun on and enjoy. If you're lucky enough that your horse has enough talent and ability and has the right stuff, well, then he can go on and hopefully be extremely competitive. So it's a journey over a 2-year period, but it's a fun journey. It's a lot of enjoyment going to the horse shows, socializing with people, seeing your horse. It's about the experience, and at the very end, you end up with, you know, the Mercedes-Benz, so to speak.
The concept of if your performance horse doesn't end up making all the cuts and doesn't end up being able to compete in the show in that 3-year-old year, but you still have a horse that is so solid, I think I could make a great trail horse out of her.
The way they're trained makes them really awesome for any type of discipline after their reining show career. And we primarily trail ride, so for us we want horses that are easily guided, that listen good, they're respectful, and it seems to be really what you get after they're done with the reining training.
The neat thing about the performance horse program is the fact that I get an awesome horse. He's trained by one of the best. You end up with a product that will be a lifetime partner.
Pluto is a real strong horse. He's big, he's stout, he's got a lot of presence to him. I really like this horse a lot. Well, this is a really nice 2-year-old stud colt. His barn name is Pluto. Every year we have a barn theme, and this particular year was Disney characters. So his barn name's Pluto. And he's actually by a horse that I bred and raised called Chromed Out Mercedes. He's a stallion that won about $150,000 with Andrea Fapani. This horse's father was a phenomenal stopper. He could really attack the ground, push hard. He would circle great, turn. He was just an awesome athlete. And this horse, Pluto, reminds me a lot of his father, just in disposition, the way he gets around, etc. He's had about 5 months roughly of riding, of 5 to 6 days a week, some days 6, some days 5. So I'm just going to warm him up a little bit here, and then we're going to start working on where he is in his stopping program. He's showing a lot of natural ability, natural commitment to the ground, and very, very good-minded. So I'm looking forward to training this horse. I like this colt, how he just kind of drops that head and neck down. He's nice and relaxed. That's kind of what I'm looking for, that low kind of profile. You know, I don't teach him to put his head down there. That's just kind of what happens when you get him soft and supple and relaxed, okay?
There are certain things that kind of drew us to a specific horse, but really just being able to have hands-on contact with the horses. There was maybe something in their personality, like Pluto, for example. We liked how friendly he was, liked to be around people.
There's kind of several parts to the stop that we want to be able to work on, okay? Rule number one, the horse has got to run straight. If the horse is leaning, what do I mean by leaning? Like leaning back to the barn, or leaning to the horse is tied up against the fence, or if a horse is leaning in the arena, it'll affect the stop, okay? The horse has got to be running straight, and the horse has got to be running with what I call the handbrake off. If he's running down the arena thinking stop, 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 what happens when you go to stop them is they fall their weight onto their front end and they kind of beat you to the stop. Then the opposite is true, is you don't want them like running off and galloping off to the stop, because now they're not thinking about you at all. So there's kind of a, like here's running off with the handbrake on. Imagine there's an anchor behind you and you're dragging it. That's running with the handbrake on. The other extreme is hauling ass and running off and not listening to you at all. So there's two extremes. We're kind of looking for in the middle here. In the middle here means when I tell you to go, I want you to go. I want you to run by yourself, but don't run any faster than what I tell you to go, and don't run any slower than I tell you to go, and maintain your own speed, okay? So to begin with, we'll just kind of do a few slow run up and down the middle of the arena, and I'll kind of talk about what I'm going to work on. So I'm going to pick up my lope. I'm very particular about, and when I come up to the fence, I'm going to soften him here, soften him with my legs, bump him in the belly till he drops that neck down, and now I'm going to jog 3 circles. I'm very particular on all of my horses about lead departures. Nothing irritates me more than a horse throwing their head and neck up and lifting themselves up into a lead departure with a hollow back. I want them to step up into a lead departure with a rounded back and their head down. You know, everybody's got their hot buttons. I just can't stand one that climbs up into a lead departure, because usually when they do that, they do the same thing during lead change, is that they'll climb into the lead change rather than step forward with their rear end and collect themselves, okay? So I've trot 3 circles, pick up the lope. Now, during the rundown, I kind of want to just let him be, okay? I'm just going to go back and forth slow a few times to just kind of get him warmed up a little bit here. But he can kind of carry his head and neck wherever he wants. What I care about is when I come up into this fence, like right there, I want to soften him. See how I bump him in the belly with my spurs there? I want him to think spurs mean softness, okay? With these performance horses, you need to be able to have spurs on them to be able to get their body parts really soft and supple and get them to respect your leg. You know, we're doing things that are far more advanced than the general part of the method, fundamental, intermediate, advanced. When we're into these performance horses, we're asking for a lot more softness and collection than what the average person is going to ask. So you just can't get them to be at this level with just bare heels. It's just not going to work. You know, the big part to me about stopping is making sure that they'll soften to my hands. They'll draw really well and get soft and not root back on the bridle and push and get defensive about it. And Pluto's really good in the face, but I have to keep reminding him, get soft, get back, get soft, get back. So that's what you're seeing is me drawing on him and getting him to commit to the ground. Oh, there we go. Not too bad there. I'm gonna wait. See, he's a little sticky backing up right here. There we go. So I bumped him here with this left leg a little bit. There. There. Good boy. So the stop wasn't too bad. Wasn't great, wasn't horrible, but his back up was a little sticky there. He just didn't want to kind of pick those feet up the way he needed to. So I worked on that until I got that back up soft. So now I'm going to go ahead and trot 3 circles again. At the end of that stop, just kind of takes the worry out of him. See how he's keeping that arc by himself? See how that inside reine's real loose? That's what it produces. When you trot these tight circles and you do a lot of them, they just learn to hold that arc by themselves. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lope back up to the fence. I could feel him wanting to turn left there. That's when I turn right. I want a horse to stop hard, but be real soft in the chin. A lot of horses will stop off low, but when you take a hold of the reins, they kind of stiffen up and they get kind of sorry about it. I want them to get soft. So this is the way he leans. Let's see what he does. Whoa. Pretty good there. And the backup was a lot better. I'm gonna soften him there at the end. Get that chin down. I like him to drop that neck down, good boy. So that one, he felt a little more committed. He felt like he melted into the ground just a little bit more than before. So I kind of let him just sit here. Rest is kind of his motivation. Remember, horses are lazy creatures. So he's stopping, I don't know, 10 feet or so. That's plenty for where he needs to be stopping right now.
Getting a horse to walk up front with their front feet when they stop, like a reining horse, they slide behind and they walk up front, is something that takes time to build. Some horses are more naturally adapt to do it than others. Some horses need a lot more work at it. When he does get a little stiff up front, I'll trot those circles, soften him up, and then go back and do it again.
Oh. There, that was pretty good. I like his back up too. He's very soft in my hands. Good boy. There. Rub on him a little bit. So that time he stopped, he let me draw on him. So the best reward he can get right now is just getting some air and just relaxing him.
Pluto doesn't need to be running any faster. At this point of his 2-year-old year, he needs to stay at the speed he's at and just get consistent with it, okay? Speed's not necessarily the name of the game, it's consistency that I'm looking for in his 2-year-old year. Ariel is a very good-minded mare. She's quiet, she's sweet, she wants to get along, she doesn't really want any trouble, she's low-necked. I like this horse a lot.
This is a 2-year-old reining filly for a performance horse. Her name is Ariel, that's her barn name. And she's by Chromed Out Mercedes, and she's out of a Wimpy's Little Step mare. A good friend and customer of mine named Chuck Carlson owns this mare. It's his first reining horse that he'd ever bought and done business with me. And he's certainly got a nice one to begin with, that's for sure.
I was attracted to Ariel's mind. She's calm, especially for a 2-year-old. She has a great disposition, an absolutely loving personality. So I made my first visit down here to purchase Ariel, and then this is my first visit to the ranch to actually see the kind of training that Clinton has done with her.
I do this same warm-up that I'm showing you now, basically with every horse that I train. It's all the same, okay? So I come out and I just kind of start jogging some circles. I want them to stay soft, stay nice and relaxed, and keep that arc to their body. So if I lose their arc, I might pick them up, soften their face with my hands and my legs, and turn them loose again. So I just want to, I like to bridge my reins a lot when these 2-year-olds to kind of introduce them to that neck rein where I start dragging that rein kind of across their neck. Now watch, when I change directions, I change hands, and watch. I drag the rein, and at the same time, I can kind of, with my little finger here, help that direct rein, that, plow rein, direct rein, to help tip that nose. You always want them to look the direction they're going. So I change hands, I drag it across the neck. If she doesn't come, like she was a little late just then, I kind of bump on her. So I kind of ask her with the neck rein, tell her with the direct rein. Ask her with the neck rein, tell her with the direct rein. So watch, I change hands, I ask her, there, and that time, see how she changed arcs by herself? Okay? Then some other little warm-up things I'll do is I'll pick up here, and about now, with about 5 months of riding, I want to try to do a lot of things one-handed as best I can. I'll always go to 2 hands when I need it, but whenever I can practice guiding in one hand, I will. So I'm just kind of counter-bending her now. Some people call it a reverse arc, counter-bending, where her nose is tipped to the outside and her shoulders to the inside. Now I'm going to change the arc, and get her to go back to the arc of a circle. The circles is all about getting them to be soft, have shape to their body, where they look to the inside, have them follow that neck rein. I'm very particular about my horses being soft in my hands. Where I pick up and I squeeze with my legs, I can collect them and get them off the bridle. Let's go ahead and start with our circles, okay? So, lead departure, I'm gonna push your hip to the right. I want a hip coming up here, she's nice and soft. I kiss to her. And she doesn't have to, at this stage, pick up, you know, the lope immediately, okay? I don't mind if she trots a few steps into it, okay? So I'm very particular about, even if she trots into it, I'm very particular that she stays soft as she goes up into that lope. Again, I don't want them picking that head and neck up. So when I first start loping them around, first thing I want to do is just check how they feel as far as shape to the inside. When I pick up on that inside rein, will they get off that rein and bend their neck and get soft? I want a horse keeping the same arc as the circle. Okay, well maybe even a little bit more when I'm suppling, of course. But I want them to get soft to that inside rein. So I pick up on that inside rein and I bump with that inside leg to soften her ribs. So I want her to stay on the circle, okay? And just when I pick up, she gets soft. There we go. So that's my first thing that I work on, is just inside rein, inside leg. Will they get soft to that? And I might have to work on this for 5-10 minutes until I'm happy with it, but it's repetition. What I'm trying to do on these reining horses and cow horses in this 2-year-old year is get a really solid foundation. I'm not working on headset right now. I'm working on soften to the bridle.
Check out our latest catalogue from Down Under Horsemanship. It's filled with beautiful imagery and in-depth information on all the products used in this show. Visit our website or call this number and we'll send it to your door free of charge.
So the next thing I'm going to work on now is making sure when I put that outside leg on and press with my left leg, she'll push that hip to the inside, because that's the foundation of my lean change. When I pick up and press, I can feel that hip come to the inside. I don't want it so that when I press her with my leg, she tries to speed up or get faster in any way. So even now, one-handed, there, I like that. As soon as she gets soft, I turn her loose.
A horse that is stiff and roots on the bit and pulls on your hands, you're very limited to what you can do with that particular horse. You have to have them soft and supple and collected.
So now, I might work on a little bit of speed control with her. At this early stage, I'm really just concerned that she runs, and she runs relaxed. You know, when you run a horse, they get nervous. So I want to start teaching her early on. It's nothing to get worried about. So I just want her to run, build some speed. Every once in a while, I'll pick up, ask her to soften her face. Like right here, she feels a little stiff. You know, when you go faster, horses will have a tendency to want to grab that bridle, grab the bit a little more than what you want. I'm a fanatic on softness. Now I'm going to sit down and relax, and then just go into trotting 3 circles. So I always do a change of gait. So this is just the early stage of teaching them speed control. Now eventually they can't drop down to a trot, but in that 2-year-old year, I always want to build their confidence that they're coming down to a... Horses can understand a change of gait better than they can a change of speed. So at this early stage, I want to make sure that she understands she's coming to a slower gait. So I'm just going to build some speed, soften the jaw a little bit there. That's a go. Now I'm going to sit down. Oh, good girl. You could tell that time she was really wanting to come back.
I don't think she's a superstar by any means, but I certainly think that she's well worth training and will ultimately be competitive. And then, you know, if Chuck decides to keep her and take her home and make her into a great horse, he's got an awesome horse.
And a lot of the times when I'll trot those circles, at the very end of it, when I go to stop, I'll just draw across the neck and make sure she moves those feet. Want to make sure when I lay that rein, she'll get off it.
If he wants to sell her to somebody else to go compete on, she'll be a phenomenal non-pro reining horse.
Cool. Good go.
She's just a good mare. I like her a lot.
This next horse, mate, his name is Chip. He's a working cow horse prospect, and he's by a horse called Bet He's a Cat. Very successful cutting horse, won quite a bit of money, and he's also out of a grey Starlight mare, and they've been phenomenal producers as well, and produced a lot of reining horses and cutting horses. He's owned by a really good friend and customer of mine called Lynn Thomas, and he's had 5 months of riding, just like the others. And with him, I'm going to talk about two subjects, suppling a horse and also working on their lead changes. So I've been changing leads on these colts now for about 3 to 4 weeks. I've started changing leads on them, okay? I don't change leads on horses until I've got them really broke, they're soft, they're supple, they're loping good, I can move all 5 body parts, etc. What do I mean by that? I mean, if I pick him up here and want to move his shoulders over, I should be able to pick him up and move his shoulders over here. Or pick him up over here and move his shoulders over here. I want to be able to have full control of their body parts before I want to change leads on. You know, or if I put my right leg back right now, I'm pushing his hip to the left, okay, and get that softness. So before I kind of work on changing leads, I'm going to supple him up a little bit. One of my favorite suppling exercises is the serpentine exercise. Right hand, right leg, left hand, left leg. I've got my inside leg on, bending that rib cage around my leg. You know, when you bend a horse's rib cage, it's hard for them not to lift their back up and get soft. But, you know, you've got to use that leg to soften their body. Horses that have hard, stiff mouths really just have hard, stiff bodies. When you get the body soft and supple, the mouth will feel, you know, relatively light, okay? So I'll do a lot of bending around. Every once in a while, Chip, he'll kind of grab that bridle just every once in a while and just get a little pushy. So when he does that, you know, I'll kind of jerk on him like that or wrestle him around a little bit and reprimand him and then go back and be nice and light again. See, that's the kind of lightness I'm looking for. So, you know, a lot of people think that light horses are because you have light hands. That's only half true. I want to pick up really lightly on the reins. But if I do not get the response that I'm looking for, I'm going to increase that pressure on my rein or leg until I do get the response I'm looking for. So it's about picking up light, but it's about pulling or jerking hard enough to get the job done. Do it as easy as possible, but as firm as necessary, okay? So it's very important before you're changing leads on them that you can move all these body parts around, okay? So what we're gonna do here is work through the lead change just kind of at a walk and a trot before we start the lope. One of my main exercises is, let's just pretend I'm loping on the right lead right now. So I want to do what we call our cigar exercise, where I pick him up, he's on the right lead right now, I tip his nose left, I got my left leg on, and I just practice shaping him. And when I get to the end of the cigar shape, I turn, now go straight again. So I'm basically making like an oval, or let's pretend there was a cigar on the ground, it's just like that, a long shape like that. So I'm pushing him off with my left leg. Now I turn the corner. He's still on the right lead, mind you. I pick up, my left leg's up by the girth, I'm pushing, I'm clearing the side, I'm getting him soft, I'm moving his shoulders over, I'm getting everything soft. And then instead of changing leads, I'm gonna go back this way. And I do this drill a lot until it's basically burned into their brain. And then once you get that working really well, Usually a lead change is pretty easy.
Chip's a nice horse. I like him a lot. You know, I worked on his lead changes today, getting him to change leads, get soft, and come back to me. Now it's pretty much just about practicing. Just consistency is your greatest ally, inconsistency is your greatest enemy.
Okay, so this side I can work on pushing him off again, pushing him off, change his shape, come back this way. Push him off again, create that shape, get him soft, get him soft, get him soft, change. Now that time he kind of jumped into it again. Pretty typical when they're first learning, they kind of overreact a little bit. And this colt's pretty feely anyway. He's very sensitive type of a colt. Half goofy bastard at times, but he's pretty sensitive, okay? So I don't have to put a lot of leg on him to get him to change. But after I get him soft, I bring him back down and just jog these 3 circles. And since I started doing this, change leads, jog 3 circles, I've noticed that my horses start to change leads and then they anticipate that. They change and then they relax. They change and then they relax. So in the last couple of years, I've changed my lead change program to do that, to incorporate change leads, lope 2 or 3 strides, then drop them to a trot 3 circles. And then I can do this a lot. Typically when you change a lot of leads, the horses get nervous, but when you do it like this, you can change leads a lot and they don't get nervous.
I like the way that Chip lopes around. He's quiet, he's got his head down, he's soft, you know what I mean? He kind of wants to put up the surrender flag. I don't want too much trouble, and doesn't give me a lot either. He's a little spooky in some areas, and some of those cow horses kind of get like that. They're kind of looky, you know, they look at the signs in the arena and they look at the trash can that moves, but that's kind of what gives them that kind of sparkle on a cow too, is that they got that intensity to them. So you just got to kind of manage it.
Well, this colt, his name's Rango. He's actually by a really good cutting horse called WR This Cat Smart, and he's out of a Smart Chickalina mare. And this is one of my cow horses for next year. I really enjoy the working cow horse industry. I'm kind of new to it, so I'm kind of feeling it as I go along, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a great group of people, great atmosphere, and really had a lot of fun doing it, that's for sure. So he's now just starting to get worked on cattle right now. You know, he's had about 5 months worth of riding. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to work around on his turnarounds and kind of talk to you about what I'm wanting him to do and how I want him to do it, etc. Rango is a pretty laid-back horse. He's owned by a good friend of mine called Jerry. Jerry, this is her first performance horse, and she was really interested in the working cow horses. She came to Reno last year and watched the futurity, and the working cow horses are a unique individual, but they have to be able to be well above average at all 3 events, the reining, the cutting, and the working cow part, okay, going down the fence. And so to me, in my opinion so far, it's quite a bit more difficult than what the reining is. The reining, you get to work on, you know, one discipline, so to speak. And this one, if you're really good at the reining, but you're bad at the other 2 events, it won't work very well. You've got to be above average at all 3 events to be really competitive.
The reason we chose Rango is because Clinton was extremely excited about this horse, about what he had to offer, his conformation. He was really excited about wanting to ride him, and who would not want to be a part of that?
With the cow horses, I'm going to get them a lot more backed off the bridle as far as backing up a lot more, because that cutting work and that cow work is a lot more over their hindquarters, so a lot more rollbacks and backing in circles. So I'm going to work on his turnarounds, because typically that's kind of like his weakest part of all his maneuvers. He can circle really good, and he can stop good and change leads and so forth, but the turnaround is probably his weakest part. So as I'm warming him up here, I'm just going to make sure I can move his body parts around, push his hip up. I want the cow horses to be just as soft as the reining horses. If I put my leg on, he moves his leg off that leg and gets soft, okay? So even though they're, you know, different disciplines, the cow horses and reining, I warm them up all the same, just moving their body parts around, making sure they get soft. When I put that leg on, he shouldn't speed up. I want him to carry that arc. If I lay that neck rein, even though you can get in a cow horse in the futurity, you can ride them 2-handed, I still kind of train them, at least in the reining part, to go one-handed, because I feel like if they'll ride one-handed pretty good, you got a much better chance of them riding two-handed, okay? Move his shoulders around. Every day moving these body parts around is kind of like adding a little bit of oil to the hinge of the door. If you don't add any oil to that hinge of the door, it's eventually going to get kind of stiff and creak and not work real good, get seized up, okay? And especially as a good little warm-up session, if they're getting a little stiff, I'll go ahead and disengage the hindquarters and get them to move that hip around like that, and then change legs and make them turn around with their nose on my foot. Not that I'd ever want them to turn around with that much bend, but I use this as a suppling exercise, okay? So I pick up, move their hip out of the road. Now I'm gonna take my right leg off, put my left leg on, and I want him to get soft as he turns around. Good boy. Driving forward, he felt a little bit sucked back there. Cool. I like how he's keeping his own momentum going now. Like, I don't want to have to keep bumping them with my leg to keep them going. I want them, once they start that turnaround, to march themselves around there. Good boy.
My son, who watches Clinton's DVDs a lot, is actually the one that named Rango. And he said he wanted to hear Clinton say, "Radio Rango."
Chief is a really nice horse. He's a very nice individual. I like training him.
This horse here, his name is Chief. He's owned by Dennis and Robin Harris, some good friends of mine that wanted a really nice horse, so we ended up getting this. I sold him this performance horse. And he's by a horse called Boomshinik, which was a successful reining horse, had a lot of talent. He could really stop, really turn, circled really good, had a lot of face on him. Just a great individual. And he was trained by Craig Smershall, which is a really good reining horse trainer. And he's actually out of a really successful Pepto-Bismol mare. She's produced quite a few winners in the cutting industry. So he's bred to do some cutting and some reining. I haven't decided just yet whether I'll make him a straight cow horse or reiner. He's been very good-minded. And the next 30 days, I kind of have to make a choice which way I'm going to go with him. But in today's exercise, what I'm going to do is show you some guiding exercises that I use on reiners and cow horses to get them guiding, following my hand, starting the neck rein better, and also a rollback exercise all in one.
When we came down to pick out our performance horse, the qualities I liked about Chief was, number one, he's pretty. I just liked his conformation, we liked his color. Chief seems to be able to reach the potential where he'll carry my stature around.
What I want to do is make 2 turns, a series of straight lines and turns before I do a rollback. So this exercise really kind of gets him listening. Like right here, he's not paying attention to me, so I kind of bumped on him a little bit there. When I lay that rein across his neck, I want him to get off it and get his nose down and get soft. So I kind of do most of this one-handed. I want to make sure when I put him on a straight line, they don't try to build speed. Okay? He's built a little bit of speed. I'm going to go throw another turn in. So by throwing in a little turn, it kind of makes him get back on his rear end. Now I'm going to just draw him. That was better. Don't raise your head up. Get him back. Now I'm going to back him in a circle. Make sure he's getting soft. Lay the rein. Come out on the other lead. So what I don't like is a little pushy when I first draw on him. I use this exercise to make sure that the horse will let me just pick up on their face and draw him into the ground. He's a little bit pushy there, so this will be a good exercise to get him off the bridle, like watch right here. I want you to get soft. I'm just going to drive him back forward again. Get soft. Might drive him back forward again. There, that was better. I'm going to back him around in a circle. Backing is the foundation of your stop. If you can get him backing really good, your stop kind of takes care of itself a lot.
Chief is very athletic, and that's good if you can channel it the right direction. It's bad if it channels the wrong direction. So he's very busy-minded kind of a horse. So keeping him busy, moving his feet, hooked back into me, is the secret to keeping his mind engaged with me. If you just go mindless, endless circles, he'll start wandering off mentally because he's bored with what you're doing. So that's why I try to do a lot of direction changes with him to get him hooked back into me.
And you can even slow it down at the trot, you know, if they're a little greener. And it wouldn't hurt him to do this, actually, because this is kind of his weak point about just getting back, get soft. See that stickiness right there? I don't want him to pick his head up when he's backing. Lay the rein, draw the nose. Trot him off, stop him, back him up. I'm going to lay the rein for the cue, draw his nose. So laying the rein is his cue to turn. Pulling his nose reminds him which way to look. Lay the rein, pull his nose. I always want a horse looking the way that they're turning. So if I want him to turn right, even though I'm going to use that left rein as a neck rein, I want him to eventually get his direction from that rein as well. When I lay the rein, he follows it. Lay the rein. There we go.
Check out our latest catalogue from Down Under Horsemanship. It's filled with beautiful imagery and in-depth information on all the products used in this show. Visit our website or call this number and we'll send it to your door free of charge.
The owners is what makes this thing possible. Without them, I wouldn't be able to ride these great horses, and I take a lot of time to match the right owners and with the right horses and with me.
I highly recommend the Performance Horse program for a guy who started out with the mindset of, God, wouldn't it be beautiful to own a signature horse someday, and then who got moved into the Performance Horse program, couldn't be happier with the whole process, its smoothness and the way things have gone and the way Ariel's been handled, the way she's been trained, and the way everybody here, especially including Clinton, have treated me.
I would absolutely recommend the Performance program to anybody and everybody. that wants to be serious about having the experience with reining horses, cow horses, the futurity, with Clinton, and all the great things he can do and does with performance horses, the whole gamut with the method. It's a black and white, this is it, here I am. It's a whole lot of fun.
We like the reining horses because the way they're trained makes them really awesome for any type of discipline after their reining show career. I would definitely recommend the performance horse program to anybody looking for something new and fun and adventurous. Clinton's honest, he's upfront. I feel like he's conscientious about our money and how much the things cost, and maybe not to do too much too soon.
This is the highest level I feel you can get at an affordable price. The ego is cool. We get to hang out with some really great people. I'm looking forward to going to the shows, the futurities. It's gonna be a blast. I would recommend this performance horse program to anyone that wants a great horse.
You know, a lot of these owners that I have actually over the time have been some of my closest friends, because when you buy one of my performance horses, theoretically, I'm tied to you for 2 years. So if you're an idiot and you need to be politically correct and you don't like a joke that I say and you don't like my sense of humor, me and you are not gonna have fun hanging out together. You know what I mean? If you're perverted like I am and you have a sense of humor and you know you can laugh at yourself and you're not politically correct, we're probably gonna have an awesome damn time. Even if they want to buy it, I make them go home and think about the decision. We talk about it a few days later, because I really wanted to be comfortable with it. Because when I go to a horse show, I want to be serious, no doubt about it, with the training, but I want to enjoy myself around these people. And I have a great group of customers, and really they're more than customers now, they're my close friends.